So are the Netherlands. They were beaten on penalties by the Africa Cup of Nations champions Morocco.
The Dutch losing on penalties to a good Morocco side might not seem like that big of a deal.
Major European side has fallen on penalties. This one not quite such a seismic result as the Germany defeat though, is it?
No. If anything, it's just bad luck that they had to play a team that good in the round of 32, especially when they topped their group. But the problems with this country go far deeper than just one result. The Dutch gave the world total football. Reached 3 World Cup finals and produced some of the greatest players the sport has ever seen. But under Koeman, they played like Arsenal. They played cautious, predictable, and afraid to take risks.
But at the end of the day, Morocco tried to win the game. Holland just thought, or Netherlands, shall I say, sorry, just try not to lose it. That's what I'm saying.
If you're not ready to sacrifice your life for your country and your team that you are playing for, you're not going to achieve anything.
It felt like they were playing not to lose.
The defeat to Morocco proved to be the final straw. Ronald Koeman stepped down as the head coach immediately after the tournament, forcing the Dutch Federation to begin another rebuild. So where did it all go wrong? Because at the end of the group stages, the Netherlands actually looked like a team that might go far in the tournament. The Netherlands finished at the top of the group with 7 points and scored a tournament-high 10 goals. But beneath those impressive numbers were warning signs that many people overlook. While the results were convincing, the performances often lack balance, and cracks in Ronald Koeman's tactical setups were already beginning to show.
Those are nations that are used to play a different type of football, and they're not capable to do that right now.
I just watched that performance, and especially extra time. Holland ran out of steam, and then the fitter side of Morocco took over.
Look at their first game versus Japan. Koeman lined up his team in a familiar 4-3-3 with Frankie de Jong, Ryan Gravenberch, and Tijani Reinders in midfield, while Cody Gakpo led the attack alongside Malen and Somerville. Van Dijk opened the scoring early in the second half, powering home a header from a brilliant Ryan Gravenberch cross. Japan hit back just minutes later when Nakamura cut inside from the left and saw his shot take a deflection past Verbruggen. The Dutch regained control in the 64th minute. Somerville, just making his 3rd international appearance, curled a superb finish into the far corner. But then Koeman did what he does best, which is make the wrong tactical adjustments mid-game. With less than 10 minutes remaining, Koeman surprisingly took off Gravenberch and replaced him with Nathan Ake, switching to a much more defensive back 5. Instead of keeping possession and pushing Japan back, the Netherlands invited wave after wave of pressure, and the gamble of course backfired. In the 89th minute, Japan equalized from a corner. It was the first time in World Cup history that the Netherlands failed to win a match after leading on 2 separate occasions. More importantly, it exposed a worrying pattern that would haunt Koeman throughout the tournament. Whenever the Dutch retreated instead of playing their natural game, they became vulnerable. After being questioned following the draw with Japan, the Netherlands responded in style, beating Sweden 5-1 in Houston. Koeman stuck with his 4-3-3, but he made a very important change. He started the tank Brian Brobby through the middle, moving Gakpo back to his natural position on the left wing, and the adjustments worked immediately. Brobby bullied the Swedish defense. He looked like an adult playing in the kids league. He scored twice inside the opening 17 minutes with 2 close range finishes. Gakpo then took over after halftime, scoring twice in 7 minutes to put the game beyond reach. I'm telling you guys, Dutch Gakpo is even better than Portugal CR7. Sweden pulled one back through Anthony Elanga, but Somerville finished the game off. On the surface, it looked like the Netherlands had answered all the criticism, but underneath the scoreline, there were some worrying problems. Despite losing 5-1, Sweden actually finished with 16 shots compared to the Netherlands' 10. Time and time again, Alexander Isak and Victor Gyökeres found huge spaces behind the Dutch midfield, exposing the team's defensive structure. If Sweden had been more clinical, or Verbruggen hadn't made several important saves, the scoreline could have looked very different. The attack was good now, but the defensive balance wasn't there. While most fans focused on the 5 goals, the warning signs from the Japan match hadn't disappeared. They were simply hidden by an outstanding finishing display. The Netherlands wrapped up the group stage with a 3-1 win over Tunisia, but I mean everybody beat Tunisia. As a result, the Netherlands comfortably secured their top spot in Group F. On paper, everything looked good. A lot of goals scored, no losses, but the performances told a different story. Rather than playing with the energy and intensity expected from a top side, the Dutch looked content to manage the game. They dropped into a deeper defensive shape, pressed less aggressively, and never really looked interested in chasing a bigger statement win. It was enough to beat Tunisia, but it reinforced a growing concern surrounding Ronald Koeman's side. The Netherlands were ruthless when chances came their way, yet they still looked uncomfortable whenever opponents pressed them or forced them to defend for long periods. Those concerns would soon get exposed in the knockout rounds. The Netherlands World Cup came crashing down in Monterrey. After scoring 10 goals in the group stage, Ronald Koeman abandoned the attacking approach that had brought the team success in their last 2 group stage matches. Worried about Morocco's pace and physicality, he ditched the usual 4-3-3 and switched to a much more cautious back 5.
You know he's scared of Morocco because normally they play with 3 midfielders. They didn't play with 3 midfielders, put a back 5-4-1. I don't usually see a Dutch team playing like that before, so you know he's scared of Morocco.
Dropping Reinders and leaving Frankie de Jong and Gravenberch outnumbered in midfield.
That's 2 players that should take care of the ball and not give it away and give it up too cheaply. I just watched that performance, and especially extra time, Holland ran out of steam and then the fitter side and Morocco took over.
Morocco naturally dominated possession with their midfield trio of Unahi, Bouhaddi, and El Ainaoui. They controlled the tempo from start to finish.
In the engine room today, in that shape, there was only 2 of them really in there. They didn't really get control of that middle of the park, and that's why Morocco were able to dominate the game.
The Dutch could barely string passes together, spending most of the match defending inside their own half. Brian Brobby was completely isolated up front, feeding off hopeful long balls with almost no support. Apart from an early effort from Mickey van de Ven, the Netherlands offered virtually nothing going forward, while Verbruggen was forced into several outstanding saves just to keep the score level. Then, suddenly against the run of play, the Dutch struck. After Koeman brought on Weghorst, a long kick from Verbruggen was flicked on by the substitute before Somerville squared the ball brilliantly from the ground for Cody Gakpo to score in the 72nd minute. It should have been the perfect smash and grab win. Instead, Koeman repeated the same mistake that cost his side the game against Japan. Rather than pushing for a second goal or trying to regain control of the midfield, the Netherlands retreated into an even deeper defensive block, inviting Morocco to attack. The pressure became relentless, and in stoppage time, Morocco finally found the breakthrough they deserved. From a corner, Issa Diop rose highest to power home the equalizer, sending the match into extra time. Neither side could find a winner, so the game went to pens, and Morocco won the shootout 3-2, sending the Netherlands crashing out of the World Cup. Ronald Koeman abandoned his identity when it mattered the most, and the Netherlands paid the ultimate price. You know what was the problem? He didn't have Toggle VPN, which is the sponsor of today's video. For many supporters, even before the World Cup, they believed that Koeman was always the biggest obstacle between the Netherlands and a deep tournament run. The World Cup is one of those tournaments where you never want to miss a game. Whether you're traveling this summer, watching from a hotel, an airport, or just on public Wi-Fi at a cafe, Toggle VPN helps you stay connected to the streaming services you already use while adding an extra layer of privacy. What I like is how simple it is. You literally open the app, tap one button, and you're connected in seconds. It also works across up to 10 devices on a single account. So whether you're watching on your phone, laptop, or TV, you're covered. And because it's built for streaming live events, you get fast, reliable connections with an ad blocker built in, so you're focused on the football instead of buffering. If you're following every match of this World Cup like I am, check out Toggle VPN. You can get a free 7-day trial plus 20% off your first month using the link in the description. Now back to Ronald Koeman and how Dutch football reached this point. There is no questioning Koeman's status as a Dutch football icon. His winning goal in the 1992 European Cup final for Barcelona and his role in the legendary Euro 1988 win ensure he will always be respected in the Netherlands. The problem is that Koeman as a player was a drastically different person than Ronald Koeman the manager. Ronald Koeman returned as Netherlands manager in January of 2023 after replacing Louis van Gaal following the World Cup in Qatar. But while his first spell in charge had been largely successful, the second never truly convinced. Under Koeman, the Netherlands gradually moved away from the attacking, possession-based style that defined Dutch football for generations. Instead, they became increasingly cautious, reactive, and just afraid to take risks. Reaching the semi-finals of Euro 2024 did little to change that perception. Many supporters felt the run flattered the team, pointing out that the Dutch only advanced from the group stage as one of the best third-place teams before benefiting from a favorable knockout path. Even worrying, During Koeman's entire second spell, the Netherlands failed to beat a single opponent ranked inside FIFA's top 25. The contrast with Louis van Gaal couldn't have been clearer. Van Gaal demanded bravery and inspired absolute belief in his players, while Koeman often appeared hesitant, and that caution spread onto the pitch. Time after time, the Netherlands retreated after taking the lead, abandoning the attacking football that the Dutch fans expect from their national team. Another criticism around Koeman was his approach to man management. While figures like Louis van Gaal were known for publicly defending their players, even during difficult periods, Koeman had developed a reputation for doing the complete opposite. On multiple occasions, he had openly criticized members of his own squad through the media. His comments about Steven Bergwijn following the winger's move to Saudi Arabia generated significant controversy, while public criticism of younger players such as Joshua Zirkzee had also frustrated supporters. Another major frustration was that he really never had a plan B. Koeman's teams were often criticized for being too predictable. When his preferred tactical approach worked, the Netherlands could look excellent. The problem came when opponents successfully disrupted the original game plan. Many fans felt Koeman struggled to adapt during matches.
Ronald Koeman, since taking over the latest stint here, 2023 versus top 25 teams, Craig, 0 wins, 6 draws, 8 losses.
His subs were regularly criticized for arriving too late, the tactical adjustments felt like they were reactive rather than proactive, and supporters frequently complained that the team kept trying the same solutions even when they clearly weren't working. Knockout football often requires managers to solve problems in real time, and Dutch supporters were never convinced Koeman excelled in that area. Perhaps the biggest source of frustration, though, was accountability. When the Netherlands performed poorly, fans often felt Koeman was too quick to point towards individual mistakes, missed chances, or just player errors. What they rarely heard, in their view, was the manager acknowledging tactical shortcomings or admitting that his own decisions had contributed to the result. That ultimately created a growing disconnect between Koeman and large sections of the Dutch fanbase. But nevertheless, his departure leaves the Dutch national team at a crossroads. The technical director, Nigel de Jong, described the World Cup as a major disappointment, making it clear that simply reaching the round of 32 fell far below their expectations. The federation's goal had been to challenge for the trophy, not to suffer an early exit. Attention has now turned to finding the coach who can restore the Netherlands' identity. Whoever takes over will inherit one of Europe's most talented squads, but also a clear message from the supporters. Bring back brave attacking football, please. If you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you will love this one too. Check it out right here.